afternoon. I don't feel like I've done a daylight video for ages. They're always in dark car parks with the car light on. So here I am in the daylight. Hello. Tis only, well, it's the following day. I went to see Bombshell last night. This afternoon, I went to see Just Mercy. And whereas Bombshell left me somewhat underwhelmed, Just Mercy overwhelmed me at times. It is a true story, I suppose Bombshell was as well, based on a true story. And it's about a lawyer called Bryan Stevenson who decided that he would take his Harvard law degree, and I'm pretty sure they're quite difficult to obtain. Like, you don't just sort of come by one of those. So he graduated law at Harvard and decided that rather than take any number of fancy jobs that was offered to him, he would go down south. He's from Delaware, but he decided he would go down to Alabama and he would fight for people on death row or people who had no voice and no access to decent legal counsel. And the reason as to why I chose to do this is revealed in the film, so I won't give that away. But yeah, like I say, he's a real guy. The film largely centres on the case of Walter McMillian, better known as Johnny D. I feel like the camera's on a jaunty angle. It's a bit better. Doesn't really matter. Walter McMillian lived in a fairly poor black community in Alabama, and one night he's arrested and charged with the murder of an 18-year-old white girl. He says he's innocent. The police decide he's not. End of story. We don't really go into that in much detail to start with. We find out a lot more when Bryan Stevenson decides to take his case. So he sets up a little office down in Alabama. He's assisted by a woman called Eva, played here by Brie Larson. I haven't said. Bryan Stevenson is played by Michael B. Jordan, and it is Jamie Foxx who takes the role of Johnny D. So they're your sort of principal players. So yeah, that's it. He goes down there, sets up his little sort of legal counsel, shop for people who need his help, and he takes on Walter's case. And the amount of evidence against Walter, or rather the lack of evidence against Walter, is absolutely staggering. Like, he doesn't even have to dig that deep. He literally opens a folder and goes, "Is this it? And this man's on death row because of the contents of this folder. Are you having a laugh?" I mean, he doesn't say that, obviously. So it's about that. It's about fighting for justice. It's about fighting for what's right. It is about racism. It is about bigotry. It is about fighting for what you believe in, but at what cost, and so on. Michael B. Jordan, I think, first came to my attention as Wallace in The Wire, or I saw him as something else, and then when I started to watch The Wire, because The Wire started in 2005, I watched The Wire for the first time, the whole thing, all 60 episodes, only about, well, in the last 10 years, which sounds like ages, but it's not really. It had been on air and off air a long time when I finally got around to watching The Wire. And if you're watching this and you've never seen it, and it's one of those shows where people go, "Ooh, watch The Wire," absolutely watch The Wire. It's amazing. So Michael B. Jordan was in that when he was a teenager, playing a kid called Wallace. And like I say, I don't know if I saw him in something else, and then when I started to watch The Wire, I was like, "Oh my god, that's that guy from," and it's when he's little, or if I saw him as Wallace first. I genuinely don't know. For most casual cinema goers, you will recognise him as, I can't remember the character's name, which is bad form, but he plays the villain of sorts in Black Panther, the Marvel film, and he also plays Adonis Creed in those Rocky spin-offs. I've always thought he was a good actor. Even, like I say, as a teenager in The Wire, he was very, very good there. But he's really quite exceptional in this. So much integrity, so much grace, so much dignity, but he's never showy. This to me should be a solid awards contender, but it hasn't, as far as I'm aware, been nominated for anything. And I think it's because possibly, even though it has a courtroom setting, or elements of it are courtroom based, it's really not big shouty courtroom drama. And I love a big shouty courtroom drama. Who doesn't? They can be so theatrical when they're done right, but that's not where this film's interested in going. It's about people, it's about characters, it's about conversations, and it isn't about slamming books down onto tables in a court of law and shouting at the judge and jury. It's not that film. Walter McNeil, Johnny D, is played by Jamie Foxx, and I like Jamie Foxx a lot. I don't feel like I think of him as a great actor, but then every so often I'm reminded that actually he's got serious chops. The film of his that stands out the most for me isn't Ray, although I thought he was very good as Ray Charles. The film of his that really made me stop and go, hold the phone, this guy's amazing, was when he starred opposite Tom Cruise in Collateral all the way back in 2004. He played the cab driver. And I think it's when he's playing those sort of unshowy, sort of quieter characters, when he's not playing the big flash guy, I think that's when I prefer him. I think that's when you get to see like what calibre of actor he really is. Brie Larson is brilliant in this. Still manages to look beautiful with late 80s, early 90s fashions going on. Everybody in it's good. He's the whole cast, Johnny D's family, sort of assorted cousins, aunts, uncles, kids, community. Everybody's good. Another standout for me, and I don't really feel like this guy gets enough credit, doesn't get raved about enough, so I'm going to do it here and now. Rafe Spall is amazing. Like, he's just fantastic. And actually, I think I realised today I quite fancy him, which is weird because it was a bit odd in this film. But yeah, just like Rafe Spall, man. I think I did this after Men in Black International, which was largely dire, but I remember coming out going, Rafe Spall. He plays the district attorney who's in a difficult position. And he's just superb. He's so good. He's a bit shifty, slightly slimy, but you can see there's perhaps morality there. The southern accent's great. And I know he's an actor and that's what they do, but, you wouldn't know he was a British actor at all. He just blends in so wonderfully. And when I think of Rafe Spall, I tend to think of the two first roles I saw him in, which was Shaun of the Dead, You've Got Red on You, and as one of the coppers or one of the detectives in Hot Fuzz. That's how I think of Rafe Spall, and then I'm reminded, or rather proved, that the guy's got serious acting chops. I think I've said chops in this video once already, now I've said it 3 times, never mind. This film is superb. It's incredibly well paced, it's gripping, it's very emotional, but it doesn't go for the obvious emotional punches that it could. It could do the shouty courtroom thing. It doesn't. It tells you at the end about Bryan Stevenson, who still is working, getting justice for people who don't have it, getting prisoners off death row. It really makes you think about the death penalty and what it means. Obviously, we haven't had it in this country for a long old time, but it still exists in certain states in America. But again, it manages to get you thinking about the death penalty debate without really sort of ramming it down your throat, without banging the drum for abolishment. It just sort of says, they get it wrong. People get put on death row. Innocent people get put on death row. So yeah, really satisfying. Looks good. Performances are bang on, particularly Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx. I guess the two leads. Actually, somebody I've missed and definitely needs a mention is Tim Blake Nelson, who you might hear the name and go, I don't know who that guy is, but the second you saw his face, you'd go, oh, that guy, because he's been in all sorts of stuff. And he plays quite a key role in this as well, and he plays it exceptionally well. It was just a really solid, entertaining, thought-provoking drama. that I thoroughly enjoyed. So I would highly recommend it. Go and see Just Mercy. I don't think you'll regret it. Thanks very much. Katie out.